Um, Days after the storming of the Capitol on January 6th, an image began spreading widely across the encrypted chat app, something called Telegram, that one I don't use, and other bastions of the right wing digital conversation. It was a battle flag depicting the nutcase Ashley Babbitt, who was a 35-year-old woman who was shot by a Capitol police officer as she attempted to enter the building, as a spooky-looking white on black idolized feminine figure, not unlike a martial version of the Starbucks logo. On the flag, a drop of blood dangles from Babbitt's neck against the crimson Capitol dome. Variations on this flag include the Capitol stamped with the Star of David, the word vengeance written below it in a Gothic font. The Babbitt flag was used to advertise in the abortive Million Martyr March that was scheduled for Inauguration Day. Ever since, the white supremacist groups like Revolt Through Tradition and the National Partisan Movement have used the same image of Babbitt in their recruitment propaganda, posting flyers on light poles and hanging banners that read her name was Ashley Babbitt from Boston to Orlando. She's also been the muse for several rap songs, including one with nearly 50,000 YouTube views by the conservative white rapper Forgiato Blow, whose other tracks include White History Month and martial law. Patriots, he basically raps in one of his songs, Patriots, we fed up. We know that we got set up. Yeah, you really didn't. He raps over a canned trap beat. Ashley Babbitt, you know we hold you in prayer. Ashley Babbitt, we know that your soul's in the air. No, her soul's in hell because that's where she's riding at. Um, every every evolution runs on myths, its own heroes and martyrs, filling the hearts of adherents with grievances and a wish for revenge for the attempted revolution of January 6th. Um, Babbitt is the most visible of these figures. One popular T-shirt available from Kmart as well as other vendors since January 8th has an American flag rendered in black and white with the text Ashley Babbitt, un-American unpatriotic. Ashley Babbitt, a four-tour Air Force hero who basically became a nutcase, was killed not defending liberty, and I'm not going to honor her today because she's a fucking nutcase. Rioters who lived here, rioters who lived, are also cultivating an air of righteous persecution and the cash grab to go with it. Fundraisers on the Christian far-right sympathetic fundraising site Give, Send, Go. They provide a snapshot of the stories that the arrestees tell about themselves. Yeah, they're trying to give sob stories, and basically, I'm not gonna fall for that shit. Mark Sahady and Sue Ayani, both founding members of the homophobic hate group Super Happy Fun America and organizers of the Boston Straight Pride Parade, motto "It's great to be straight," have raised more than $9,000 on the site to contest the federal charges of disorderly conduct and trespassing for their role in the riot. The pair arranged for 11 buses to transport fellow far right-wing nutcases to D.C. Mark Sahady and Suiani are unpatriotic rednecks who are facing a legal battle due to basically not peacefully attending the Klan rally in Washington D.C. on January 6th. The pair wrote on Give, Send, Go due to their history of conservative activism. They had been defamed by the media and harassed by local agitators. They're claiming that, but I don't think that's true. The agitators are basically the Republicans. As a result of what appears to be a political prosecution, they are now burdened with large legal expenses. Along with their donation, a user calling themselves Rightful Freedom wrote, "Thank you for fighting for our rights and freedom." Yeah, that's not what they did. Another defendant, Sean Watson, called on his experience in the U.S. Army to drum up unpatriotic sentiment and donations. On December 19th, Donald Trump, the former squatter, called on his sycophants to a Klan rally in Washington, D.C. on January 6th for 2021 to protest what he believes was a stolen election, which it wasn't. Being an Army veteran, this guy, Sean Watson, took this as a direct order from the squatter. He wrote on his Give, Send, Go fundraising page, as a fellow unpatriotic person and a dumbass veteran, because you support Trump. He asked God and the fellow patrons to help me, to help in the defense. Yeah, bullshit. One larger scale project seeks to offer legal aid to the people that call themselves patriots, but they're anything but that. It's ensnared in the Justice Department probe, an organization that's called the National Constitutional Law Union, or also known as NCLU, an unmistakable imitation of the ACLU's acronym, was founded in June of 2021 by John Pierce, who has represented Rudy Kaludi and George Papadopoulos. The fledgling organization solicits donations on the conservative fundraising platform WinRed. We don't want anybody that's a red person to win again. We don't want them winning. The NCLU's homepage celebrates its representation of several different defendants in connection with the January 6, 2021 events at the United States Capitol. A timeline of American history on the organization's homepage begins with foundations of liberty, going from 1773 to 1785. Americans fight and win the Revolutionary War against an oppressive English monarchy, and they establish a beacon of freedom for the entire world. And that concludes in 2021 with Enough is Enough. American history culminates apparently in the formation of the NCLU to fight for the liberties of the common citizen, and for Pierce, taking on the cause of the January 6 defendants is an integral part of that fight. Federal authorities are rounding up American citizens with respect to January 6, he told Gateway Pundit. Yeah, that's not exactly what's going on there. The NCLU the NCLU is honored to be stepping in to provide support for these defendants and their lawyers. And for $100, Richard Barnett of Gravette, Arkansas, is selling photographs of himself with his feet up on Pelosi's desk. If you object to the November election results or stand against the Biden administration in any way, not only will you be canceled, said Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, basically it will put you on a Gestapo-like list. Your employer will terminate your job, your freedom will be taken, and then you will be thrown into a gulag for an undetermined amount of time without ever having a criminal trial. He wrote in his site, Richard Barnett's picture of Speaker Pelosi's desk has gotten the face of the new anti-federalist movement. We will not go gently into that good night. But there are no signs of such an exit. The conviction that the 2020 election was stolen has hardened onto a majority opinion with the Republican Party. The language of persecution used by the writers typifies the 2021 conservative mindset. And of course, it's a narrative drenched not only in self-delusion, but replete with carefully molded, cultivated blind spots. It's telling that, amid the commemorations of Ashley Babbitt's life and death, and the bluster of January 6 defendants, there is one name that is hardly mentioned in all this. The other woman who died that particular day was a Kennesaw, Georgia woman named Roseanne Boylan, like Babbitt in her mid-30s, who was white and a fervent believer in the QAnon conspiracy theories. She has not become a similar rallying point for other recruitment or revenge. This presumably is owed to the manner of death and how she died. She was trampled to death by the crowd surging at the Capitol and seeking to overwhelm police lines, and she was crushed by the bodies of her fellow sycophants. The January 6 riot was sparked by a man who wanted to retain presidential power at any cost, and the story of a woman whose blind death in conspiracy led her to a lonely death in the middle of a mob, and is the tragedy at its heart. And Boylan died in the service of a movement that never cared for her like others. They were just foot soldiers, pawns in the service of seeking power at any price. But yep.